You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN E-mini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things E-mini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro. Joining us today, Mr. Michael Borg. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon and welcome back. Today is Monday, 24th day of November 2025. Thanks for joining us. Wherever you are, just glad to have you right here, right now. I don't know if Michael's going to be joining us this afternoon. Had an issue and I didn't see his message until later. So anybody is in the room now that was in the room this morning, Michael said he wasn't going to be on the afternoon broadcast. Let me know. He said he was going to be on the afternoon broadcast. Let me know. Because I was in the live room for a while, but then I had some things to do, so I didn't have my headphones on at the time, and I didn't see the message he had sent me earlier. So, anyway, happy Monday. Hope you had a great weekend. We do 2 live broadcasts every trading day. First one is our live training room, so you got to be a member to get in there, or taking the 1-week free trial. If you've not taken your 1-week free trial, mytradingiq.com. At the top of the page, there's a purple button. Just click it. Fill out the form. Get your indicators up and indicating today. And because we have a short week, holidays, your trial will run, probably let it run all the way through Wednesday or Thursday. But make sure you fill out the form after you click that purple button. In order to get your indicators up and indicating, we do need your TradingView ID. So just type it into the spot. Enable the indicators. Okay. Stay enabled for the length of your trial, and then once your trial ends, they'll be turned off unless you decide to actually become. All right. The live training room ends each day at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. 30-minute break. Come back for this broadcast, the noon broadcast, which is open to everybody, everywhere, planet Earth, with an internet-connected device. There's 2 different ways to join this afternoon broadcast live. Best way, you only have to do it once. mytradingiq.com. This time, scroll down the page where it says Noon Broadcast. Click that link, fill out that 30-second registration form. Done. What will happen going forward is every trading day, about an hour before this broadcast starts, email, there'll be a link. So at 12 noon Eastern, all you got to do is click the link in the email, and it automatically logs you into our platform. The benefit there is you'll have access to the question box, so you can ask questions and participate in discussion. Of course, days you're out of the office, away from the desktop, see the family, you still want to join live. And some days you'll just be busy, so you can't join live, but you do want to get caught up later. Do both of those via our YouTube channel, which is easy to remember. youtube.com/CFR. That's the Christian Financial Radio Network since 2005. But all you have to remember is just youtube.com/CF. Not only do we broadcast live every trading day on our YouTube channel, as we're doing now, simulcasting, we also archive each and every daily broadcast. Currently, there's over 2,900 daily episodes archived, educational, and viewing pleasure. .com/CF. On the left side of the screen, you'll see our schedule for each afternoon broadcast, which may or not be true today because I still don't know for sure if my joining us today's session. There's a medical emergency in the family, so if he pops in, he pops in. If he doesn't, well, then okay. So let's get going with our daily devotional. That's where we start each and every day. Topic we're currently on, just about done. This has been a 28-day devotional on sharing your. Our scripture today is 2 Kings 7:3-16. I'm going to share it from the NIV translation. Now there were 4 men with leprosy at the entrance of the city gate. They said to each other, "Why stay here until we die? If we say we will go to the city, famine is there, and we will die. And if we stay here, die. So let's go over to the camp of the Arameans and surrender. Spare us, we live. They kill us, then we die." At dusk they got up and went to the camp of the Arameans. They reached the edge of the camp. No one was there. The Lord had caused the Arameans to hear the sound of chariots and horses and a great army, so that they said to one another, "Look, the king of Israel has hired the Hittite and Egyptian kings to attack us." So they got up and fled in the dusk and abandoned their tents and their horses and donkeys. They left the camp as it was and ran for their lives. Men who had leprosy reached the edge of the camp, entered one of the tents, ate and drank. Then they took silver, gold, and clothes and went off and hid them. Turned and entered another tent, took some things from it and also. Then they said to each other, "What we're doing is not right. This is a day of good news and we are to ourselves. If we wait until daylight, punishment will overtake us. Let's go at once and report this to the royal palace." So they went and called out to the city gatekeepers, told them, "Went into the Aramean camp and no one was there. Not a sound of anyone. Tethered horses and donkeys. Tents left just as they were." Gatekeepers shouted the news and it was reported in the palace. The king got up in the night and said to his officers, "I will tell you what the Arameans have done to us. They know we are starving. So they have left the camp to hide in the countryside, thinking, 'Surely come out, then we will take them alive and get into the city.'" One of his officers answered, "Have some men take 5 of the horses that are left in the city. Their plight will be like that of all the Israelites left here. Yes, they will only be like all these Israelites who are doomed. So let us send them to find out what happened." So they selected 2 chariots with their horses. The king sent them after the Aramean army. Demanded the drivers, "Find out what happened." Followed them as far as the Jordan. They found the whole road strewn with clothing and equipment the Arameans had thrown away in their headlong flight. So the messengers returned and reported. Then the people went out and plundered the camp of the Arameans. So a seah of the finest flour sold for a shekel, and 2 seahs of barley sold for a shekel, as the Lord said. Guilty silence. What would you do if this had happened to you? Imagine being one of the 4 men rejected by society for a condition, leprosy, beyond your control, and left to survive on. That was the situation for desperate lepers we just read about. The nation of Israel was surrounded by an enemy and suffering great famine. Unexpectedly, God brought deliverance to the lepers first. Found the enemy camp deserted, all they needed to not only survive, thrive. But it was what everyone else needed too. The lepers be silent and themselves recognize their silence. Our situation is not that different today. It's not a physical famine that plagues most people in our culture today. It is a spiritual famine. God has given salvation, and it has come to us first. Will we be silent and keep it to ourselves? Or will we take the initiative, share it with others who desperately need it? Think about this. Witness is just one beggar telling another. I encourage you to take a step. Make a list of the spiritual blessings you have received. Thank God for each one, and ask God for opportunities to share with others about the blessings you have received. Yourself. Let's pray. Lord, thank you for reminding us that even in our darkest moments, working in ways that we cannot see. Give us the courage of those 4 lepers. Rise up, step out, forward in faith, believing that you can turn scarcity, abundance, fear into. Help us trust your provision, share the good news of your deliverance with others. It's in Jesus' name. Everybody said, amen. Happy Monday. All right, let me give you the numbers from around the world. Start here in the U.S. with the cash markets, or the indices as they're called. Currently, the Dow's up 180 points. The NASDAQ is up 497. That's 2.25%. S&P 500 is up 84. It's over 1.25%. The Russell 2000 is up 35 points, which is 1.5%. Same. And the commodity basket. Oil up 47 cents, trading 58.53 last. It's a gain of almost 1%. Gold up $18.80, 4,095.30 last. Silver up 3 cents, trading 50.22 last. Asian markets at the close. Nikkei fell hard, 1,198 points, almost 2.5%. Shanghai was almost 2 points. The Hang Seng gained 496, which is almost 2%. And in the European markets, at the close, FTSE down 4. DAX up 147, CAC down 2. So we had a mixed day in Asia, mixed day for the UK. It's a big green Radio Monday here in the US of A. And when we get to the charts, point something out to you. I think tomorrow just might be a turnaround Tuesday. I mentioned last week the potential for a dead cat bounce or head fake, and well, only time will tell. And I'll point it out clearly when we get the charts, when I bring them up. First, let's look at the global news. Ukrainian and Western officials began talks in Geneva yesterday, discussing a plan proposed by the Trump administration last week in the nearly 4-year war between the country and Russia. Russian officials were not in attendance. Kind of hard to have a meeting without, Trump set a Thursday deadline for Ukraine to respond to the 28-point plan. Notably, the proposal requires Ukraine to cede all territory currently held by Russia, roughly 20% of the country's pre-2014 territory, including Crimea and much of the Donbass region, and freezes territorial control along current battle lines in neighboring areas. It also prohibits Ukraine from NATO membership, allows it to join the Union. Since 2022, more than 53,000 civilian casualties have been reported, including 14,000 killed. 10 million people have been displaced. Ukraine has received more than $400 billion in aid, including $118 billion from the U.S. taxpayers. All this senseless killing. Nigeria, 50 students escaped their captors after a mass kidnapping last week. Abduction is among the largest in the country's history. More than 250 people remain captive, including students as young as 10 years old. The attack took place early Friday when unidentified armed men stormed St. Mary's private Catholic school, the country's central Niger state, abducting 303 students and 12 staff members. Followed a deadly gun attack on a church in neighboring Kwara State. It came days after gunmen kidnapped 25 schoolgirls in Kebbi State. No group has claimed responsibility for the recent attacks, which have forced widespread school closures. Authorities have largely characterized violence in the region, including kidnapping for ransom attacks, as a clash over strained resources. President Trump has threatened to end all aid to Nigeria over the issue, accusing the government of failing to protect Christians. Researchers in the United Kingdom announced a pair of new clinical trials to assess the impact of puberty blockers on children. The trial will clear 220 children to access the drugs on an experimental basis after the government barred their distribution to children last year following a study on the drug's safety profile. Pathways trial children under age 16 who have been diagnosed with gender dysphoria and are undergoing. Beginning in January, recruits will be assigned to one of two groups, one starting the drugs immediately and the other later. Researchers will assess the drug's impacts on their mental, social, and physical well-being for 2 years, including evaluations of bone density and brain development. A separate observational study of 3,000 children evaluate the impact of routine care on children with gender dysphoria. Now, you know what? Let me just go on. In the U.S., an estimated 300,000 children aged 13 to 17 identify as transgender. 42,000 kids received gender dysphoria diagnosis as of 2020, up nearly threefold from 2017. Then half of the states restrict or ban gender-related medical interventions in such cases. Now, you know where I stand on this. If God actually made a mistake, hung a penis on somebody that wasn't supposed to have one, or didn't hang one on somebody who was supposed to have one, why don't we let that child grow up, become an adult, and then make the proper decision? There's a whole lot of boys that played with Barbie dolls when they were young, and a whole lot of girls who played with G.I. Joes but yet today, normal, healthy adults with families of their own. You can arrive at your own conclusion. U.S. stocks surged today, heading towards a rebound to start the shortened Thanksgiving trading weekend as U.S. policymakers buoyed hopes for an interest rate cut in December. We all know that when there's a U.S. holiday, especially one that leads to an extended weekend, we almost always see the U.S. markets rally into the holiday. Why? It's just kind of a historical fact. Has it happened 100% of the time? No. Does it happen more often than not? Yeah, pretty much. Stocks are aiming for further recovery from the pullback that is cool this year as AI-driven market rally. Analysts had suggested the end is near for a retreat that has driven losses in November as well as turbulence. While Bitcoin remained under pressure, a sign that the jitters that have haunted markets haven't dissipated. Leading cryptocurrency was trading slightly lower on Monday at just south of 87,000, having recovered somewhat over the weekend from sinking below 81,000 on Friday, long-running slump. Investors are headed into the shortened Thanksgiving trading week, still debating the odds of an interest rate cut. Today, Christopher Waller joined another influential policymaker, John Williams, in setting the stage for Federal Reserve easing next month. December 10th is the next FOMC. Delayed economic data releases will start to flow in this week, helping with those calculations. Tomorrow, markets get September updates on producer prices and retail sales, and a November reading of consumer confidence, among other data. While agencies are working through the backlog from the longest government shutdown in U.S. history, return to the full economic calendar is still a ways off. Amazon.com's data center operation is much larger than commonly understood, totaling more than 900 facilities in more than countries. Documents reviewed by Bloomberg. Investigative website. Source material. Amazon Web Services is best known for sprawling data center hubs in Virginia and Oregon. Those sorts of enormous complexes, which the company owns or operates through long-term leases, don't account for its full. Cloud unit also stashes server racks, hundreds of so-called co-location facilities, renting space that as of last year provided about a fifth of the computing power at Amazon's disposal, according to the documents. Alibaba Group drew more than 10 million downloads in the week after its launch, well for a longer-term effort to build a rival to OpenAI's ChatGPT. Chinese e-commerce leaders' shares climbed more than 5% today in Hong Kong after Alibaba disclosed the number in a chat blog post. That rapid ramp follows the move this month to rename and freshen up Alibaba's pre-existing apps, iOS and Android, unifying the services under the Qwen banner. Qwen's debut underscores how artificial intelligence apps have set new highs for rapid adoption in recent times, starting with OpenAI's ChatGPT, fastest to 100 million users 3 years ago. Setting aside Meta Platforms' Threads, which got the benefit of its parent company's vast social networks, Alibaba's Qwen is among the fastest risers, particularly in China, where ChatGPT is not. Novo Nordisk down 6% on the day, almost 6%. They had a closely watched Alzheimer's trial, older version of its semaglutide drug, which failed to help slow the progression of the wasting disease, the firm said today. Blow to the obesity drug giant that sent shares sliding. Trials, which Novo had previously called a lottery ticket to underline its highly uncertain outcome, testing whether the medicine could slow cognitive decline in patients. Setback scuppers hopes for Novo that Alzheimer's could open a major new market for GLP-1 medicines, such as semaglutide, faces rising competition to its blockbuster drugs in its core treatment of obesity, diabetes. U.S. Federal Reserve Governor Christopher Waller said he met with Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent recently to further discuss his possible nomination as the Fed chair. The Trump administration moves forward in picking a replacement for Jerome Powell. Powell's term ends in May. Waller said on Fox Business, I talked to Scott about 10 days ago. We had a great meeting. I think they are looking for someone who has merit, experience, and knows what job, and I think I fit that. The administration has narrowed the Fed selection to a short list, reported to include Waller, Kevin Hassett, former Fed Governor Kevin Warsh, BlackRock Investment Chief Rick Ryder, Fed Vice Chair for Supervision Michelle Bowman. It's not clear how many on that list have moved on to the next round of interviews that Waller comments indicate are. Hackers stole a trove of data, a company used by major Wall Street banks real estate loans and mortgages, setting off a scramble to determine what was taken and which banks were affected. According to people familiar with the investigation, a statement from New York-based Citus AMC, which has 1,500 clients, said Saturday night that account records and legal agreements related to some of its clients have been impacted in the hack. The incident is now contained and our services are fully operational. No encrypting malware involved. Discovered the unauthorized access to its systems on the 12th, and within a few days was warning customers that they were affected. Oh, there's a website you can go to that lets you know if your data has been leaked. I've been pawned, I think it is. Spell it funny. A and pawn. Turning to Capitol Hill, after urging members of the military to refuse illegal orders from the Trump administration, Senator Elissa Slotkin from Michigan admitted she's not aware of any such orders. ABC's Martha Raddatz asked her, "Do you believe President Donald Trump has issued any illegal orders?" Slotkin replied, "To my knowledge, I am not aware of things that are illegal. Certainly, there are some legal gymnastics that are going on with these Caribbean strikes and everything in Venezuela." Video posted on X said that threats to the Constitution aren't just coming from abroad, but right here at home. Slotkin and 5 other Democrat members of Congress shared a video on X Tuesday telling the military and intelligence community American people need to stand up for our laws and our Constitution. Up the ship. No, that's not what they said. You saw the commercial. You know what they said. They lie, and then they lie about the lie. That's what they do. Disapproval of the state of the economy appears to be widespread, despite many indicators improving since the start of the year when we got a president. The reality is that most Americans' financial situation deteriorated so much under the Joe Biden administration. A long way to go before this affordability crisis is resolved. Fortunately, there are ways to speed up the process. Perhaps the best illustration of where most Americans are economically today, where they've been, is to look at real inflation-adjusted average weekly. This tells us not only how much the average American makes each week, but those weekly paychecks can actually buy. The first 8 months of the Donald Trump administration, real average weekly earnings rose about 1%, a modest improvement, sure. Clearly a step in the right direction. Those incomes rose faster than prices, so they could afford a higher standard of living. But we need some perspective to understand why people are still so deeply dissatisfied with the 4 years before Trump returned to the White House. Real average weekly earnings fell 4%, as inflation during the Biden administration far outpaced wage growth. That means the good progress made thus far this year only reversed about a quarter of the losses from the Biden. The average American is still worse off than he or she was before Trump left office. So, Biden left such a big mess. Take a while to clean it up. So we just or everything Trump's tried to do has worked. Promises made, promises kept, and that ticks off some of our and women. Logic 247, that's our 24/7 around-the-clock E-mini alert service. Currently in week 382. Last 382 weeks, we've issued over 1,000 individual handcrafted alerts. And what we've averaged on a weekly basis is 20% or less of the alerts being stopped out based on simple market structure and a simple process we teach all of our passport holders. Last week we had 8% stopped out, and the week before we had 5% stopped out. Mondays are usually a bumpy start, and today's no different. Since the markets opened last night at 6 p.m. Eastern, I issued 14 alerts. Valerie did the recap at 6:30 a.m. Eastern. Still waiting on the outcome of 11. Gave us 3 actionable alerts, of which 1 or 1% been stopped out based on simple market structure, a simple process we teach all of our passport holders. Every logic alert, not to be confused with the concierge trade alerts. Every logic alert issued has an entry price, long or short, initial target designed to help get your additional targets, and a final trade to target. The purpose of the alerts is to teach you how to read a chart. I know you can read, but chart, there's no sentences, no paragraphs, no punctuation. It's a whole language. You have to understand what all those candles and the flow of price. It's chaotic having any training. Once you understand how price flows across all markets and all time frames, support, resistance, back to support, back to resistance, over and over, guess what? Read a chart just like you read a newspaper or a history novel. So whether you ever trade a logic alert or not, while you can, use them how to read a chart. A logic alert can come out anytime around the clock. Futures trade around the clock. We have traders. Their day session is their night session, and vice versa. 382 weeks is a little over 7 years. Certainly a long. However, many years before Logic 247, we had our original alert service, the concierge trade. Now they're different in a number of different ways. The purpose of this discussion, I'll say this, not around the clock. Published as a static report shortly before the Forex open each evening, 5:55 p.m. Eastern. Monday session that we're in right now began last night at 6 p.m. Eastern. Now, Sunday night is the only night that we typically see gaps because futures trade around the clock. Stocks, of course, if you're a US trader, markets open at 9:30 Eastern. Then Asia trades those stocks, then Europe trades those stocks, then Wall Street reopens, and so there's a gap between where Wall Street closed and everything that happened overnight and where Wall Street opens the following day. Futures, the only time we typically see that gap is on Sunday night when the futures market has been closed for a day and a half. So, I told everyone last night, as I've been doing lately on Sunday nights, I will issue the CTAs 5:55 p.m. Eastern. If there are any large gaps, I will reissue markets. So we had 2 markets affected. All of our traders had all of these targets last night, 5 minutes ahead of the market open. S&P 500, the Dow, the Russell, NQ, silver. But I had to revise 2 of them because we gapped high. We gapped right up to the long CTA on both the Russell and the Dow. Originally, the long target on the Russell was 23.91, and on the Dow was 46.550. But we gapped open right into that area. So 3 minutes after the market opened, I issued these revised numbers, Russell and the Dow, and you'll see both of them drawn on the charts as we go through individual markets one by one. See those CTA targets drawn right on the chart. Remember, our members and even trial members had that information 5 minutes before the market opened. In the case of 2 markets, minutes after the market. Okay? All right. So with that, charts. Start where we always do. S&P 500. Daily. All right, here we go. Now, price always reverts to the mean. In our case, the mean is green. We call it C. Just stands for bull. Price crosses below the green line, opens and closes below the green line. We're bearish and expect lower prices. Price crosses above the green line, we're bullish, expect higher prices. Pull back to the BBC holds more often than it doesn't. Here. Then we got an indication April 25th, switch from bearish, bullish. Picture. Back held and the pull back held and the pull back held. It's a 3-day pullback. Hell, as long as all the candles are touching green line, X tracement, tracement. And we had a 6-day pullback that held. This is a real anomaly. 6 daily candles every touching the green. That 6-day pullback led to new all-time historic intraday and closing highs. Then we got a bearish signal. Candle that opened and closed low. Supposed to go bearish. That was on a Friday. Following Sunday night, the markets gapped higher on the following Wednesday. We got a daily doji, and I thought maybe this is where we turn. So we did. And following Friday, we got an almost identical bearish signal. This led to a red day and another red day, green day. See, we found support at the 0 line of the fib extensions, and we found resistance at the 12. And on this day, we opened and all the way up to the 50% fib extension, the bearish cross. When you have a bearish cross where the red line gets below the green line, first time price revisits that area will always be good resistance, just like it was right here. Okay. Now the market's reversed off of that here. Friday, open, we went a little lower, then we went a little higher. We ran into resistance at red and falling. Falling gets direct above price, it becomes resistance. So price ended up closing Friday just above the 0 line on extensions. and just below black step line. Okay, it turns out Michael is going to join us. Michael, so whenever you're ready, just let me know. Switch it over to you. Because I can always... So do you want to come in now, or do you want to just come at your normal time? I'm flexible. All right. Well, pops in, he pops in. So this is the dead cat bounce potential head fake I'm talking about. Already tested the BBC once, and then down here, that was on Thursday. Friday, we found resistance at falling. Now today, it looks like we basically at the high of the session. So we got resistance times 2 overhead, daily BBC, and the 38% fib extension. If we find resistance in that area, we should get a downside. This is why I said tomorrow, potentially turnaround Tuesday. In other words, run up here, we hit this resistance times 2, market's open tonight, and then tomorrow start to head lower with a leg. That's how price moves, as you can see over here. Leg retracement, leg retracement, leg retracement, leg retracement, retracement. We had a head fake here. Leg. Now we start printing legs to the downside. Leg retracement. Now, actually we had a leg, a retracement, and a leg, and now tracing back to that DC and the 38% extension. How we close today, obviously, will be every single day. Now, on the ES, this is the 30-minute chart. This is where all alerts are created, both the Logic 247 and the Concierge Trade Alerts. These are the CTAs that I just showed you the list of. Vertical line right here separates today, Monday. Back here's last week, Friday. Horizontal lines are our weekly trading zones, published Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. Once they're published, they're carved in stone the entire week. Closing in on 16, publish the zones every week. Now, this was the gap higher open last night. Yes. We just kind of ran sideways. Once we got back up into this area, the high of that first 30-minute candle where we gapped open, resistance sent us back down to the zone below. These are last week's zones. Because when I send any alerts out on Sunday night, I have to rely on last week's zones. New zones don't get published on Monday, 6:15 a.m. Eastern. Every alert I send out for the rest of this week, based on this week's zones. And all of our members, and even trial members, got the new zones this morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. Tomorrow's broadcast, you will see this week's zones on the chart. These alerts were based on last week's zones. So we had a weekly zone at 6622/23. Price drops to a weekly trading zone. We expect support. And when price rallies up to a zone, we expect resistance till proven otherwise. Zones are an area. and price is always trying to reach a weekly trading zone. Off the gap higher open, back to support, at above the BBC. Now, I want you to notice how the black step line and blue and climbing ran parallel to each other on the way up. Then we consolidated for an hour and a half. Black step line is now directly above blue and climbing, no longer running parallel. So this candle is pretty important. Unless it takes us to substantially new highs, keep consolidating sideways here, black step line is going to cross blue and climbing. Once that happens, you should expect a retracement back to the BBC, which is aligned with the target. Quite often when we trade through a long target, as we've done, on the retracement, top side of that long target will actually support. See, it was resistance the first time up. We traded through it. Then the next candle got us above it. Got through this zone. Now it's trying to get to the zone last week at 67.45/6. The next zone up for this week, 67.8/59. But if you remember, you already know that. Anyway, on tomorrow's broadcast, you'll see this week's zones on my Dow. Now you see this gap open on the Dow. It gapped right up to CTA long target. That's why I reissued this long target. This is based off last Thursday, right there where blue turned to red. Okay. Today's long target came from. Originally, when I published the CTAs last night, there where blue turned red, that was a long target, and as you can see, we gapped right up to it. Boom, that first 30 minutes. Resistance will always send the market looking for support. Back to the BBC held. Caught a bounce. Got a retracement. Now this support right here, okay? This is not a spot I would have looked for resistance. Right here at the low of this candle. So we could say we spiked it. You know, I mean, let's face it. With 21,000 individual alerts. I already talked about this. Experienced over the last 7+ years is that 20% or less of the alerts get stopped out. In other words, 20% of the time or less, the market's going to do something other than what you. Once you learn how to read the chart, understand how price flows. Now, this is an example of price running into resistance last Thursday at a weekly zone, and then again on Friday. So buyers came in here for whatever reason, right? Leg, retracement, get a leg that takes us up to the original one. Spiked the zone, didn't quite make it up to that revised CTA long target. Although markets look bullish, we still have room to climb on the ES daily chart, get to the daily BBC. So I certainly won't rule out that we may actually hit this number by the close of business today. Remember, I'm looking for Tuesday tomorrow. That may be happened before, but we'll see. Russell. Gap higher open. Remember, this is the other one I told you revised, because we gapped open last night right to the original CTA. Now hit the revised, which came out 3 minutes. This one came out 5 minutes before the market opened. This one came out after the market, and it was based off Thursday's highs, which we ran into once, twice, and we made it through. Now we've hit resistance at last week's zone 18/19. And look at the black step line. See how it's running parallel to blue and climbing? Notice it's starting to lean to the right. Once that thing crosses to the right side of blue and climbing, expect price to retrace back to the BBC. Yes, the BBC holds or not, but there's no guarantee that any pullback is going to hold. Now, this area is pretty strong because you've got the BBC, you've got a weekly zone, you've got the top side of the long target. 3 reasons the market should find support in this area if we do get placement. Step line crosses blue and climbing. Still, at the moment, Russell is trying to go higher. And the Russell, along with all the indices, I gave you the numbers from around the world, trying to get higher. Now, Michael, you're there, so jump in on C. He's not like that. All right, so in the NQ, gap higher open. I didn't reissue on the NQ, didn't get to the target. In fact, ran out of steam. It's obvious what that target's based off of. Friday's high. Got support here at the zone retracement. Now this high lines right up with that resistance right there. Sent us right down to the weekly zone 24,370/71. Only one of 3 things happens when price encounters a zone. 70% of the time it's this consolidation. 20% of the time rejection. 10% of the time slice. It's when a 30-minute candle slices through a zone like it's not even there, like this. When it runs out of steam, it will typically retrace back to the zone it sliced through. 24,765/66. And continue in the direction of the slice. Again, notice how the black step line is starting to right, about ready to cross blue and clear. It does look back to the BC. Oil opened straddling a week this week. Traded down initially, found support right in this area. Step line turned up in the low of this candle. Target was based on these lows. I like to give it a lot of room Sunday night because I anticipate gaps, but really that smallest gap. So we consolidated along the zone, attempted higher, okay, of at that area for resistance right there. To be honest, I wouldn't have called for that. That's where the market found resistance. This is where you got to wrap your head around. There's nothing you can do, no indicator you can buy that's going to make you right 100% of the time. It's just not how. This resistance sent us looking for support. That's how the market works. And didn't quite make it all the way to the short target. Missed it by 2 ticks. 742 was the low and the target was at 740. Support is now going to send the market looking for resistance. Consolidated at the zone. And we went up to challenge the early highs. Right here, here's your Wall Street open. Got a red candle run down all the way to closed above the BBC at the zone. Now, last candle and the current, this 30-minute candle, and even the one printing right at the long. Okay, Michael is here now, so when I come back, we'll pick gold, which just hit its CTA line. But now Michael's going to give us a recap of everything that happened in the live training room, and as time permits, live trading. That message that you had sent me,
Yes.
I didn't see that until right before I was getting ready to go.
That's okay.
So I apologize.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I would have texted you, but okay. Here now.
Oh, I am here.
You will be out next Tuesday.
For sure next Tuesday. Yeah.
And we'll
and
all
hopefully...
be. Now, you're talking about Tuesday the whole day, right?
Oh, Tuesday afternoon.
Just the afternoon? Okay.
Yeah, I'll be in the morning.
Okay.
Yep.
But we'll all be out Thursday.
Yes. We'll all be out Thursday and Friday this week. Indeed.
Okay, your charts look good.
They do? Did I bring them over here?
Yep.
I guess I did.
Sure
all right.
did.
All right. Good. All right, then. I am. Here we go. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Monday, the 24th day of November, 2025. Now, if you've not taken a free trial with us and you want to take a free trial, let's go here to mytradingq.com, click on the purple button right there. There's no credit card required for this trial. Just click on that purple button. And it is going to bring you to, let's just click on it and see where it brings us. It's going to bring you to this page right here, where all that we ask for is your name, your email, your phone number. Down at the bottom gives you TradingView login ID. Right, hit the register button. Once you hit register, we'll know that you took the trial and we'll get your indicators indicating for you. Okay. Today, we had a rough time today, guys. Our worst day of the month. I had 11 stop outs, but apparently it's my third time this month that I had 11 stop outs. But usually we had other really good markets to account for it. But today, well, we'll get into it. Again, if you're going to read this spreadsheet, you got to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. We had 89 ticks on the NQ, minus 13 on the YM, minus 38 on gold, and plus 35 on the ES. Put us at 437.50 on the morning session. Today it took 12 minutes and 7 trades to get to $1,125 with 10 contracts on. We had 46 trades today, and see, the last time we had 11 stop outs. We had 55 and 59 trades. Today we only had 46. We had 11 stop outs, so we were break even or better 76% of the time today. That's kind of a low number for us. Yeah, if I go through them all, on the YM today, we ended with minus 13. Our high of the day on the YM, plus 16. Okay, on the gold, we ended with minus 38. Our high of the day on the gold was plus 23. On the ES, I think we did end at the high of the day with 35. On the NQ, we ended at the high of the day with 89, but I only traded the NQ a little bit in the morning. It was just trading too thin. My trades, I had my bracket on the NQ with the 36 range sits with 36 by 50 bracket. I think. Just check that. Yeah, it's a 36 by 50 bracket. And I hit 50 3 times, but I got over 10 ticks of slip. Every time. Every time. It's because it's not trading so thin right now, but earlier there was a big gap in here and a whole bunch of ones. A whole bunch of ones, a big gap in between the bid and the ask. So I stopped trading it because it wasn't efficient anymore. Anyway, on the month now we're at 19,712 over 12 trading days, averaging $1,642 per day. Now that's a really good number. On the month wise, we're I think we're like 5th out of the year, I think. So it's not too bad. On the year now, we're 250,525 over 202 business days, averaging $1,240 per contract per 2-hour trading day. And following the 24/20 blueprint, so far this year, we traded 28.13 hours, getting our goal. And if you were to add one contract per month so far this year, you'd be at 11 contracts right now. You have to earn your way to that. But if you did add one contract per month, you'd be at 11 contracts. And if you did everything just like me, you'd work 28 hours. You'd be up $198,414 trading 11 contracts right now, averaging $7,052 per hour. Okay. All right. So that was everything that we did this morning. Now let's see if we can put some numbers in those columns, some positive numbers in those columns here over the next few minutes. Okay, what time is it? 1:06. Did I just go through everything in 6 minutes or less? That seems fast. I guess I didn't go through the trades that we did do yet. All right, so right now we don't have anything setting up right at the moment. So I'm gonna go through the gold. Look at all those stop outs on gold. It was not easy trading today. All right, here we are. So our first trade on gold, well, it's in here somewhere. Our first trade on gold was a -15. I don't see it there, but it was a -15. And then our next trade on gold, we picked up 10 ticks to get us to -5. Then 25 ticks to get us to +20. 1 to get us to 21. 1 more to get us to 22. 6 to get us to 28. 5 to get us to 33. Now the reason I had this highlighted is because it didn't come out of didn't do a full cycle before it. That's why it was highlighted. All right, so we went from 33. I don't show that, whatever that was, but it was probably pretty small. But then we stopped out from 33 down to 18. Then went from 18 up to 23. Then we stopped out again down to 6. 6, is that right? Yes. And then 23 minus 15. This should not have been 6. Yeah, it should have been. No, it should have been 8. All right, well, anyway. Then we went back up to 23 minus 15. Should have brought us down to 8. And then we had something, and then we stopped out again, put us at -8. Then we had a something right there that I didn't write down, and then we stopped out again and put us at -23. And then we stopped out again, put us at -38. Oh, there it is. Okay, I knew there was something. I had screwed up the order of these things somewhere in here. Yes, we got all the stop outs in place. I just don't have the gains all in place. Okay. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right there in gold. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right there in gold. So did get a whole bunch of stop outs in gold today. I didn't like it. It doesn't normally happen that way. And going through the break here, it doesn't look like there was a whole bunch of anything to make it look any better. One trade right here. That would have been a good trade. And that's it. So gold was complicated today. Complicated. And we ended up with -38 on gold overall. All right. The YM was not easy either. Let's do this and get back to the beginning of the YM. There we go. All right, so our first trade on the YM, I believe we picked up 2 ticks. Then I think we picked up 1 tick, and then we picked up another 1 tick, and then we stopped out. That's what happened. We picked up 1, and then another one got us to 2, and then we stopped out, put us at -13. We went 2 to 11, -11. Then we stopped out again. I don't have that one in there. We went to some number other than that. We stopped out again, and we went to -26, and then we had, let me see. I went from -26 to -16, -16 to -15, -15 to -14. Then we had a good trade right there. We went from -14 up to +16. Then we stopped out again, brought us down to 1. Then we had +1 tick to 2, and then we stopped out again, brought us to -13. So it was not an easy day with the YM either. During the break, there was a nice trade right there, it looks like. That was a trade there that would have stopped you out too. That was a trade there that would have been a break even. And that right there was a trade that just happened. That would have been an okay trade to take. So the YM was not easy either. Yes, no. Yes was a little more friendly. A little more considerate. My goals and all that. Here's our first trade on the S was right here. We picked up did we get 1 on there or 13 on that? I'm not sure if we got, I think we got 1. Yeah, we got 1 tick on that. And then the next one right here, we got another 1 tick. 2 ticks to get us to 3. That's what it was. No, we got somewhere in there, we got 2 ticks to get us to 3. And then we had this one that got us up to 20. No, got us up to 15. This stuff missing in here. I don't know where the heck it all went. All right, this is what happened. We went from 1 to 3 to 15 to 23, and then we stopped out. I remember the stop out because it was a mistake right here. We stopped out there. I should have had my stop at break even. So we stopped out there, went down to 13. Then we had a small win that got us up to 21. This wasn't that small, it was an E-tick win, got us up to 21. And then we had a small win that got us to 22. And then we had something in here that got us to 30, and then we stopped out again. That brought us down to 20. We had a break even, then went to 24, 26, then a break even on this, but that wasn't a good trade. And then we went to 34 right there, and there was one more trade. We went to 35 right at the very end somewhere. Probably right here. No, that was after. I don't know, but we ended up with 35. 35 ticks on the ES. Now, during the break, not a lot here during the break. There's one trade right there that would have worked out just fine. Trade there that would have worked out just fine. And that was it. Those couple of trades. All right. All right. That was the ES. Now, the NQ, as I said, we didn't trade the NQ all that much today. But we'll go back to the beginning where we did trade it. And we had one more trade after we stopped. Okay, but we were on the 39 range. And right there was our first trade on the NQ. We picked up 22 ticks on that. That was one of the ones that was supposed to have 50 ticks in profit, and I got 22. Then we did this one right here, and that got us 26. And then I think that's when I stopped after those two. No, I didn't stop completely there. I think I slowed down there, but I went from 22 to 48, and then 48 to 52, then 52 to 81, and then 81 to 85, and this is where I stopped after the 85 right there. That's where I stopped for a while. Here we started up again, and we got 4 ticks there up to 89. And that is where we wrapped it up with the NQ for the morning. Look, on the 39 range, there were not a lot of bars this morning. There's one trade right there that would have been a break even probably. And that's it. So it was not easy trading today. Not easy at all. No. Let's see, that was it. That's it. So I guess we can just get into it here. A down close here on gold would be a short right now. So look for the down close there on the gold, and we'll have a short. If you're just getting in there on YouTube right now and you have not taken a free trial with us, go here to mytradingiq.com. Click on the purple button right here. No credit card required for the trial. It's going to bring you to this registration page. Just fill it out. All right, once you fill it out, you sent everything you need to get your indicators indicating it to get into the room in the morning. Right? Right. So this did not turn into a trade here on the gold, and it's not going to. It's too high now. Yeah, we're waiting there, but I'll cancel that. And all three of these need to pull back down, test the midpoint, and bounce off it. Okay, all three of those need that sort of thing to get a trade. We're almost there. You see how the green, you see how that turned green? The midpoint turned green right there. That means you're in the oversold, or I'm in the oversold. So we just need an up close on this now. We just need the up close on it now. Okay. And it just kept going down. I just need an up close on it. But now it's 39 range, so it's going to be 10 points above the bottom of the bar. The bottom is at 38.25 is where the buy stop limit needs to be. Okay. 10 points above the bottom of the bar. Okay. 10 points above the bottom of the bar. Nope. Still going down. It could still happen on this bar. It's just going to close up. The ES is about to give us a trade here too. And the YM is about to give a trade. While we're waiting for this, we can't lose track of that one and that one. They're both giving a trade too. They're about to pop, both of them right now. That one, and this one, I think, all three of them. They're all right at the midpoint, all ready to go, all in the oversold. Which one's going to go first? The YM. All right, so the YM's starting to go. Here's my YM. That's going to go to break even on its own whenever it's time to. The gold almost has a short here too, so all four markets could be happening at once here. Now, are we still looking at the same place on this? Uh-oh, just lost my YM. The low on this is, no, it's 25, 50. Shoot, it's supposed to be 25. That's right, right? I feel like I screwed that up. Okay, I think it's right. Okay, that's right. 35.50. Okay, so we're in that one. We're in the ES now too. And I gotta go find my YM. We're not in the gold yet. Yes, here's the YM. Always on top. All right, so the NQ is not bumped to break even yet, but the ES has. The NQ, when it does go, it's going to go to break even plus 4. It's already done that, so we're going to lock in another 4 ticks on that. 12 ticks on the NQ. 4 ticks on the ES. So we're out with 12 on the NQ, 4 on the ES. And, well, we're going to lock in 10 on that. We ended up with no trade on the gold. Okay, so 12, 4, and 10 is what we ended up with all that. Let's go stick it out here. Today, 12, 10, 4. Okay, that's better than the morning session was. Yeah, it is better than the morning session. Today's 11:24, right? -0 so far. Okay, let's get back in there and see if we can put some more trades on. So all the indices just lined up all at the same time, exactly the same. And gold, I really thought we were going to get one there in gold going the opposite direction, but it never happened. We can get the down close to way up here. All right, so we wait. Does anybody have any questions about anything at this juncture? At this point in our morning, we have a bunch of high impact stuff the next 2 days. We had nothing today. Okay. Well, the ES has gone full cycle. It's pulled all the way back. It could have another trade right now. It didn't put in a higher swing. It actually put in a lower swing. It's got a low here of 24.75, so we're buying 26.75 on the ES. The ES numbers, it looks like it wants to get up above, put in a new high. The numbers are up at 138. I'm sorry. The numbers are up at 29.50 and 30. Oh, 30 and 30 and a half, I guess is where the numbers are. So we need the up close here on the ES. We just got it, and it just filled us. Here we are. That's not a trade on the YM. That is actually a trade over here on the gold. I didn't see the gold. I missed the gold. The ES is actually a trade, though. The ES should get up to this number right here. That's what I was talking about a minute ago. But I missed the gold. Gold has whooped me today. It's just beat me. There you go. We'll break even on this. Gonna lock in one tick. And it is now 1:23, 1:24. So we have 6 minutes left in here. Anybody has any questions, just type them in. The other people can see what you ask. Me and Dwayne. All right, and we're out of that. We are out of the ES with 2 more ticks. Let's put it in here. ES 6. Trades. Okay, go back in here now. Too bad we missed that gold trade. That was like a good one. We needed a down close followed by an up close on the gold. The YM was below the midpoint right there. That's why that wasn't a trade. And the NQ hasn't gotten into the oversold. We could still have a trade here on the NQ. We need a down close followed by an up close. And on the gold, we need the same thing, a down close followed by an up close. On the YM, we need 2 down closes followed by an up close. It doesn't look like we're getting any of that stuff right now. All right. I don't see any questions coming in. We have 4 minutes. That turned out to be nothing right there. We took that for one tick. We're not getting a whole lot of follow through right now. So we don't have any trades right at the moment. Right, we need to get into the oversold. We could have another one on the NQ. We need to get into the oversold here, and that will complete the cycle. We are in the oversold on the YM, so the cycle is complete there. We could have an up trade, an up close. That would be a trade here on the YM. 23 up to 33 on the YM right now. Okay. But this is how the markets have been this morning. We don't have one here on the NQ right now. Now the YM, if we get a down close on the YM, it's not going to end up being a trade. If we get an up close on this bar, it would be a trade. Okay. Be at 30 now. Nope, we got a down close. Cancel. All right. I don't know, guys. It doesn't look like we're going to get a trade here. We're not going to get one on the YM. We're not going to get one there. We're not going to get one here. And we're not going to get one on gold. So it is time anyway. So why don't I say this? If you have not taken a free trial with us, go here to mytradingiq.com, click on the purple button. There is no credit card required for the trial. Click on that purple button and it will bring you to this registration page where all that we ask for is your name, your email, and your phone number. Right? Your name, your email, and your phone number. Once you give us all that information, and down here at the bottom, TradingView login ID. Once you give us all that information, then and only then can we get everything enabled for you and going on your desktop. Right? That's ideally what you want to do. Get your stuff running on your desktop and get into the room with us in the morning. All right. So with that, we can pass it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. If Dwayne is ready. Okay.
It's here, but I'm ready.
There it is.
All right.
All right,
Recap of the morning session.
Today, well, hang on. Today, it took 12 minutes and 7 trades to get to $1,125 with 10 contracts.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, guys. I have an issue I got to deal with, so I'm going to have to jump right now. We'll cover the gold and silver tomorrow. Sorry, no good work today, but I hope to see you all bright and early tomorrow. Thanks so much for tuning in today. Whoever you are, God continue richly bless you. See His grace. I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading E-mini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.